Greetings, friends! Taylor here, and we are here to talk about One Piece, Episode 3, live action version on Netflix. And I gotta say, it is continuing to go on excellently. We now have the introduction of Usopp and his story. Now, I'm just gonna talk about some of this, like you've already seen the episode. No major spoilers, but just summarizing bits and pieces of the story. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting again, I haven't read the manga, so I can't vouch for that, but from the anime episodes, the story usually moves on to new characters and just focuses on that part of the story with the leads, and doesn't really focus on what some of the other supporting characters are up to. And this does. Everything is a lot more interconnected. Now, whether that's good or bad, that's up to you, but I find it rather fascinating. We continue to catch up with Kobe and Garp and Helmeppo. Helmeppo being Axe-Hand Morgan's son, the one who's, just not a very nice guy from episode 1. And we have some interesting story moments in here that I really appreciate it because the show's doing something that reminds me of something that Game of Thrones did, where they write original scenes and original interactions between the characters that don't break canon, but are believable of scenes that could have existed. Now, what we have here, again, I don't remember this being in the anime, and I don't know if it's in the manga, but we have a scene with Kobe and Garp. Garp has invited Kobe to play a board game with him. Now, I'm no expert on board games, but if I remember correctly, this game is called Go. It's that game that looks kind of like checkers, but with the little black and white spherical shaped things. I don't know the rules of the game, but it's really interesting to see how the characters are interacting while playing this game and the lessons that Garp is teaching Kobe by playing the game with him. It's really fascinating. Gives you some nice character moments and just kind of gives you a better sense of what's going on. We've gotten back to Buggy and the aftermath of what happened to him in episode 2. Again, no big details here, but one thing I think I meant to mention in the last episode, my thoughts on the last episode that I don't think I did, that I'm going to remember here while I'm thinking about him. Buggy's performance, just the mannerisms, the voice very much, reminds me a lot of Jason Lee, which I really enjoy because I really like Jason Lee. You don't know who Jason Lee is, you might know him best as Earl Hickey from My Name is Earl. Or, like me, you grew up watching Kevin Smith movies, you might know him from Mallrats, you might know him from Chasing Amy, you might know him from Dogma. And I'm getting very much like a little bit of Brody without all the nerdy trivia mixed in with Azrael from Dogma, and I'm just really loving that. So we got Arlong introduced, and in some interactions with Arlong and Buggy, which is really fascinating. Anyways, I'm going off too much on the side characters. Let's get back to the main storyline with the Straw Hats. So the characters need a new boat because, as you've seen, the ship that they're sailing is not exactly ship shape, pun intended. So they go on to the next island, which I want to say, because I'm going off the top of my head here, Gecko Island, which is the home island of Usopp. So we get Usopp's backstory with Usopp's friend Kai, and the characters are there to try to procure a ship. And we get some really, really great interactions with with the new characters. We get some continuing great interactions going with our current lead characters. Really, some of the music moments in this episode I really enjoyed, and it really does a great job of just hinting at some things to come. Obvious or not, I don't know. That's up to you. But I really enjoyed where that went. And what's interesting is this was the first episode so far that ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. Episode 1 kind of wrapped everything up, left open for things to move forward in a different direction, but didn't really leave anything behind, didn't leave anything unresolved. Episode 2, same thing. We have our big fight with Luffy and Buggy. Buggy's taken care of, Straw Hats move on. Episode 3 is the first one that kind of leaves some lingering threats and some things that need to be resolved. So I'm really looking forward to jumping right into episode 4 and seeing where things go, seeing how they move the story forward in this version of the story. And I think that's really all I have to say for notes off the top of my head. Again, really loving the story so far, really loving the performances, really loving the actors that they've cast. And it's really interesting with Kaya and her family that they all have like they kind of all have proper English accents, which really gives across the sense of nobility, like borderline royalty, and that's just a really great touch. So for now, again, I'm Taylor. Uh, go watch some Netflix. One Piece live action version is doing a very good job. Farewell, friends.